right, so we're here to talk about the Daikin Hero Cloud Services. This video is going to be a giant bag of mixed emotions. I assisted with some of the look that you see here, but not all of it before I left Daikin Comfort Technologies. And yeah, it's a good product. I would say it's the best. There's a lot of changes that I think still need to happen and maybe modified, but that's my opinion. Maybe you have a job site with Hero. Maybe you have a job site with another platform that's designed to monitor VRV systems. It's going to bug the crap when they move me around the screen here. So today I'm going to look at a job site that was requested from someone who found me on LinkedIn for Daikin Applied in Atlanta. And so you may know this job site. They said, I'm okay with sharing this. So hopefully that is true and I don't get somebody in trouble. But this is the Hero. So, obviously you go to the dashboard. The dashboard looks like this, multiple job sites, multiple clients. I really don't care about any of this stuff. What I really want to see is the unit. More specifically, the fun new stuff that we have. And everybody complains about how Service Checker doesn't have live flow diagrams. And so what they did was they heard you and they made this. And so what you can see here is live operational data of the system and how it's operating. Cool thing about this that I like to use is I can go back and I can select a date. Let's say that I want to do Sunday and I want to do 12 p.m. and it's going to play me an hour after that. So it's going to go back. It's going to look at the animation. And I'm going to hit play and it's going to modify the animation and show me exactly what it was doing at 12 p.m. And it's going to walk it minute by minute by minute, updating what I see here on the chart. So maybe I know that there's an error code that happened between a specific time frame. And this is what that looks like. I can go back through and I can look at the diagram. Now, obviously, this being newer and us rolling out products and seeing new products out in the field from a lot of different manufacturers, there's some catching up that needs to be done. As you can see, there's a Y6E here that's not reading correctly. R5T, yeah, suction sensor. I can't see, so I guess I just guess what the suction temperature should be. There's a few things here that don't match up. But that's okay because they're going to watch this video and they're going to say, hey, I should probably fix that. Right? Yes, right. Okay. One thing I like about this is the color animation. For those of you who've seen the diagrams that I talk about and I teach in front of, they look a lot like this. This is actually that same thing on this diagram. Now, don't be fooled. Just because it doesn't have a color flowing through it doesn't mean it's actually not being used. Like right here, the inverter heatsink, it's 100% open. For the Emirion design, you can see here, its main purpose is to show you that refrigerant flows this way. This is the state that it should be in. Now, this doesn't mean that it knows what that state is, and the animation isn't going to turn from orange to blue when high pressure goes to low pressure because of temperatures. No, this is just the generalized animation of what's going on in the system. So don't be fooled by, well, it's orange, so it is hot gas. It's red, that means it's liquid. The system's out of gas. You might have the liquid line flashing to a vapor at your outdoor unit. Trust me, we've seen it. Just go to my YouTube channel and look at all the videos. But with that being said, just use that as a rule of thumb. But here you can see like the inverter loop, cooling loop for the Emirion. It comes out of the outdoor heat exchanger. Then what it does is it's kind of balancing between these two expansion valves. This one's at 81%. This one's at 100%. So it's unrestricted through the inverter loop. But here, as this valve opens and closes, let's say it wants to push more liquid through the inverter loops. Well, this would close down more to 20% or maybe 15% and push all the liquid through the inverter loop. Now, remember, we have two heat exchangers, both right and left on this system because it's a 92. There's that model number here. That's really handy to have. So it's not the only circuit that's generating liquid, but this is the main circuit that generates liquid for this. But that's not why we're here. We're not here just to look at fancy animations and kind of get a sneak peek under the cover here. We're here for this portion, my favorite portion. So I'm going to stop that, and I'm going to go down here, and we're going to look at parameters. So what we're going to do is we're going to avoid the presets. Not a huge fan. There actually isn't anything in there that is super helpful, unfortunately. So we're just going to jump right in with the stuff that we like to look at. Now, you might find on the list where they're paying attention, right? Someone's paying attention. Someone knows what they're doing there because they created suction superheat, discharge superheat, condenser subcool, and condenser superheat, as well as superheat across the outdoor use subcooler. The only thing I don't like about these is that this two compressors in this module. The discharge superheat only does one compressor. It's not discharge superheat for both compressors. Now, in this data, I can see that the compressor has, they mirror each other in speeds, right? They mirror each other in discharge temperatures. So maybe knowing that and looking through the data sets that I've been looking at, I could just do this and not have to worry about it. However, I'm a bit of a fanatic when it comes to accuracy. So I'm going to go here and I'm just going to find condensing temp. Do discharge temp compared to condensing temp on this beautiful graph. Now you'll notice here on the, there's only populating one section. If I go down, there's another chart on the right. Now this chart is kind of a little weird because it gives me condensing pressure. I wish it gave me saturation temperature, but beggars can't be choosers. And we want to put something on that graph, I suppose. So we could do evaporation. There we go. Evaporation pressure, condensing pressure. I don't really need to know fan steps because I'm not that worried about it. Maybe I am. Hold on. Is fan steps there? There's not even fan steps there. So I guess it doesn't apply to this model. Cool. All right. Chart 3 at the bottom left. Modes, states, thermal on state, operation mode. That is really annoying that it takes me to the top every single time. Oil return. I like oil return. Tell me if I'm in oil return. And valves. Don't really need to know that. Oil return. These must be the solenoids. On, off. Yeah, I don't need any of those either. That's basic stuff. Okay, let's leave it like that. I'm happy with this. Very, 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 very basic. Okay, so this is timestamp 1 day to 1 day from what I can see. Well, it's today, so 1:51 p.m. Is what it goes to. I could go back and I could look at another day if I wanted to. Let's look at yesterday for the same exact points. Okay, a little better. I'll take it. The only thing I'm missing here that I want to populate, let's add parameters. Oh, wow. Whoa. I'm at the bottom already. Okay. The one time it doesn't take me back to the top. Love that. Is the compressor speeds. You know I need those compressor speeds. That would be RPS. It's funny. I look at this list so many times, and it just starts all to blur together. I am probably passing it like 6 times from Sunday here. So down to the bottom. Ratios. I must have passed it. Discharge pipe temp. It's target. I know that much. Oh, I probably. Oh, that's weird. And so why is it on the list? Well, because it's its own freaking tab. Yeah, I'm a genius. We already know that. That's why you're here. Okay. Compressor speeds, because compressor speeds matter when it comes to discharge superheat. Why do I care about compressor speeds? If my compressors are off, I don't need to know discharge superheat. Okay, a lot of information, a lot of colors. Whoa, 4 screens at the same time. That is pretty cool. I would not disagree with you there. I can see a bunch of things at the same time as I progress through the screens. That is super nice. This, allows you to zoom in with your mouse wheel if I want to get closer and see what this looks like here. As you can see here, I've got condensing temp, I've got compressor, discharge pipe temp, which kind of are close together as we see them on the chart here. I've got compressor speeds. It looks like I'm maintaining about a 60-degree discharge superheat. If I want to zoom out, I could see maybe some spikes. I bet you those spikes are, yep, they're oil return. Look, bottom right. Down here, I have the oil returns on and off. And as you can see, that's where my compressor temperature spikes come from. And we say spike, right? We want to zoom in, enhance. Let's go to the top of that hill. 169. I'm not upset about that. 169 discharge temp with oil return active. You can see where it kind of maybe even gets a little bit higher through normal operation. This is what Hero looks like. Over here, you've got condensing pressures, right? The spikes, again, tied to oil return. Easy to rule out because I can see them on all screens here. Now, when we zoom in here, I see this, right? Compressors 2 is off, 1 is maintaining. Then you see where they both kick on, and they kind of stay on pretty much a good amount of time here. And I'm zoomed in pretty far. And you know how much I love to zoom out wide. A great thing about this, right? So service checker, you get 6 hours if you set it for every 60 seconds or a minute on recording. Here, I can see an entire day. And so with that, it lets me kind of just jog through, what I see here as the worst and let it populate it so I can go back and see it again. And see here, we've got 4 oil return modes within 1 day, normal period. I can even go to, do we dare a week? Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that. Now I can see all the oil returns for a week. You can't do the service checker. Wish you could, but you can't. You can see all the spikes. All the spikes look like they are oil returns. So nothing abnormal. I can see here, though, I was about to point to my computer screen. And we can see here, though, this region of drastic compressor changes and speeds. In this region here, drastic compressor changes and speeds. These are the areas that I probably want to look a little bit more closely. And that's because over here, we can see where compressors turn off, maybe low demand. It's probably early in the morning. It is. Wow, look at that, early in the morning. So when do we see the constant demand two spikes here in these two different spots? Well, if you look here, it's the heat of the day. Well, that makes sense. That's usually when the highest demand is. When is it only running one compressor? It's at night. Well, that also makes sense. So let's say that I want to zoom in here and take a closer look. This is a lot of compressor speeds. Whoa, look at that, look at that, look at that. I can get so far in it that I can see pretty much all the little dot points. Each one is a minute. And so I can zoom through this pretty quick and see how it progresses and what that looks like. I can also see any spikes that might take place here. Everything looks copacetic for the most part. So let's say if I want to go back, let's say I want to get rid of some things and rearrange some stuff. So let's say that our discharge superheat isn't alarming. Everything correlates to oil return. I'm happy with that. Let's go to my next favorite, which is my suction superheat. How does my suction superheat compare? And we have suction pipe temp, but we also have compressor suction pipe temp. And so I've got two different ones there. And what I want to go through now is I have compressor speeds. We're going to keep that. That should be everything here that I need to do what I need to do. And look, the two messiest parts are during the day. See, and let's see if I zoom all the way in. See, I don't like that. That's messy. This is messy. This is the stuff that we say we don't want. These are the things that we say we don't want to see. Why do we not want to see them? Because look at this. Up, down, left, right, center. It's all over the place. Now, you'll notice here what is not all over the place. What's not all over the place? It's this evaporation pressure. Look over here on the right-hand side. And I wish it was saturation temperature, but you beggars can't be choosers here. It's evaporation pressure. What does my evaporation pressure look like? It looks like a nice, thin, long line. Well, that is good. Why is it a thin, long line? Well, it's a thin, long line because this is what it's controlling off of. It's in what? Oh, it's in cooling mode. I can see that because of chart number 3. Well, what do we know about cooling mode? Well, cooling mode tells me that it controls off of, compressor speeds are controlled off of saturation target, or sure, evaporation target, if you're that kind of guy, which I'm not. And so that's why this line is steady. What line is not steady? Well, our condensing pressure, because again, fans ramp up, breezes, blows in the wind. That didn't sound right. That's not proper English. But here we can see what? We can see compressor rotation speeds. It's kind of up, it's down. Now, this is an inverter piece of equipment, so it's designed to modulate, which is okay. That's okay. I don't judge it. I'm not judging there. Evaporation temperature is around 37, 38, 36. It's up and it's down. It's up and it's down. It looks like it increases speed. And then when it increases speed, we also get a dip in our actual evaporation temp. And so what is this? Why do we see this? Why is this happening in the first place? Well, this is happening because this is a Z kit on a custom air handler with VAV boxes. I did not design the system. Please don't hang me for that. This is what you see lead lag in the system with trying to maintain a specific evaporation pressure with indoor EEVs modulating. And so this is the outdoor unit. So what it's trying to do is it's trying to maintain a specific pressure, and in the process of maintaining that pressure, it's overshooting it drastically, and then it's undershooting it, overshooting and undershooting. How do you know that? Well, if we go and we do target evaporating temp, and we zoom back into that same spot, I bet you that yellow line's dancing up and over. Oh, look at there it is. It's doing exactly what I said it was doing. It's where that yellow line is your actual evaporation temperature, and it's going up, and then it's going down, and it's going up, and it's going down. And so what is mirroring that? Well, your compressor speeds are mirroring that. They go up, and then they go down, and then they go up, and they go down. And it's this beautiful little dance that looks like DNA on your screen. And the other thing I don't like is that when I'm doing this, I can't look at the indoor unit. I like to see everything at once. I'm very needy like that, very picky like that. So what do we do next? Well, let's go confirm what we see on the indoor units. It seems like a airflow control issue, right? Either we're modifying things or we're changing things. And so I'm going to go to the indoor unit down here in the bottom left. And in that process, because it is a Z-kit, there's no refrigerant flow diagram, and I'm okay with that, right? I can't expect them to have everything in this program. And now I'm going to go populate all of the good things that I like to see. My gas temps, superheat, that's cheating. I'm not going to do that. Just kidding, I am going to do that. RPS, there's nothing there because, again, this isn't an indoor unit. We want valve pulses. Give me those valve pulses. All right, and in doing those valve pulses, oil return, do I have it? No, I don't have it. That's okay. Can't have everything. Or can I? Okay. And then we have to go back to what we did before, which was a week. Let's make this a fair trial. Hey, there we go. Look at that. It's messy in the two spots again. Let's zoom into the messy spot. And what is it doing? Hey, it looks just like DNA again. Why is that? What are we seeing here? Well, we're seeing the modulation. Look at this. Look at this dancing on the line down here. So on the bottom left-hand side, red is your superheat. They did the calculation for me. I really appreciate that, guys. Thank you for that. And what you can see is you can see it dancing up, and it hits a 5 to 6 degree superheat and then a 0 degree superheat. Wow, negative 0.36, so specific. Up and then down and up and then down and up and then down. What's going on here? Why do we even see this in the first place? Well, the reason we see this, and this looks like DNA, is because when this specific system here, being a Z-kit, it's that lead lag. And so you're going to see here where the two lines distance each other when they separate, which is good. That's superheat. You'll notice the superheat at the bottom goes up. If the correlation is, this is the equation they're going off of. It's your indoor liquid pipe temp subtracted from your indoor gas temp gets your superheat. And so when they drift apart, it's good. But you'll notice here when we're drifting apart at the kind of the peak, our expansion valve is what over here on the right-hand side? Well, our expansion valve on the right-hand side is opening up because, superheat's a little bit far apart. Not really, should be 9 degrees, but it's that lead lag we talked about. And so what happens with the valve starts to open up, and it starts to open up more and more and more and more. And then, oh no, I've gone too far because now my superheat is 0.54. And so what happens now? Well, then it closes down. And in the process of closing down, the added effect of closing down, it sees then, it starts to drift apart again. Oh no, okay, open back up again, and then close down, and then open back up again. These waves that you see here on the right-hand side are valve pulses. Now, we don't like to see this. On the left-hand side, we don't like to see it dip down into 0 superheat. And so this leads me to believe that there's a couple issues here. There's airflow issues here. There might be even control issues here. I would need to see what the field settings are set for. What is the indoor unit? Is it set up for return air temperature? Is it set up for space temp? Is it set up for an average between the two? What is controlling the valve pulses, and why is it maintaining a constant 5 degrees up and down, 7 degrees, 6 degrees, 8 degrees? This could also be due to that lead lag in the system where it's just constantly overcorrecting and it's not balancing out. Maybe there's changes in the system that are taking place. Maybe there's VAV boxes that are modulating when they're not supposed to, and that changes the airflow. When that airflow drops, superheat drops, valve pulses go to close. Well, valve box opens back up, and it's this constant dance that we have with the system. And so this is not a good thing. We don't like to see indoor units jump to 0 superheat at a constant. And again, this is the highest demand point there and also on the other side. And so what is this telling me? How the whole purpose of the video, how do you use this to troubleshoot? You use this like this. These beautiful charts, these beautiful colors. It lets me see exactly how the system is performing to know, well, this is not a good thing. This is peak load conditions, right? We saw that outside. We saw that inside. We don't like to see our expansion valves dance like this. We like to see nice, steady lines. Well, what does nice, steady lines look like? Well, let's look at the off season here. Right here. This is normal changes. Look at these lines. Nice and flat, nice and straight. It's maintaining a specific saturation temperature and pressure. Notice how the screen actually auto adjusts. There's some oil return right there. In between here, it's not terrible. It's up and it's down, but these are somewhat straight lines. Then we go to full load demand in the middle of the day with this specific setup. Tongue twister. And we see this, and this is not a good thing. And so why is this program helpful to me? This program is helpful to me because I'm able to see this live. Wait a minute. Wait. This can't be. You're telling me I don't have to roll a truck to use Service Checker to go look at this system and how it's operating. I can tell you right now that I don't have to do that. Heck, I'm not even in Georgia right now to look at this system. And look, earlier today around 9:30, right? This was probably oil return, right? And then coming out of oil return, look, now we're getting into that peak load condition of the squiggles that we saw before. This is right now. So much so, look, 2:43. Yeah, okay, so it's about 5 minutes behind. This is going on right now as we speak. I can actually see the system. I can go in, I can zoom in, I can pull error codes, I can see modulation. And you can see here, here's that dance again that happened today. I can go back and I can check yesterday and the day before that and the day before that and the day before that and the day before that. And you get the point here. It's having access to the information 24/7, being recorded is a valuable tool. Usually with service technicians like myself, you go out, you put service checker on it, you take a look at the system, and you have to record for a day, 2 days. If it's a really bad problem, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, Lord forbid you record for 4 weeks. What's wrong with you? But this program lets you do that remotely. Now, it's not as polished as I would like it. It's got a lot of things that I would do without. It's got a lot of things that I would probably change and rearrange, so I can have access to indoor graphs and outdoor graphs at the same time and do the correlation between the two. That's what Service Checker lets us do. That's what I like to see. Have more than 10 points would be super nice. But this is the beauty of the program. It's the live analysis. It's the ability to go in and look at these two and go through them to say, hey, this isn't a product issue. This is an application issue. And that's what this one is. This is an application issue. It should not be hunting like this. It should not be modulating like this. This leaves a lot of open-ended questions that now have to be investigated on site. But this is the purpose of the program. The program is designed to give you live access to the information and record it so that you can go back and look and say, hey, we had a compressor failure. What did it do for that full month leading up to it? What did it do in the brutal winter? What did it do in the brutal summer? What did it do when the building was unoccupied? What did it do when they changed out the thermistors? Did they change out the right thermistors? Can I go in and I check all that? Yes, you can. And you can also export it to CSV. Now there is a function where you can go in and I can click it. Okay, when I click it a few times because I'm impatient. You can actually see the related indoor and outdoor unit operation. And so we don't need indoor unit. We have outdoor unit here. I can go look at that point and see all the other stuff that's here. Again, this is helpful. Not the format that I would use by a long shot, just because no one wants to sit here and scroll and go through one point at a time. I want charts like this. I want charts to be able to access it, to move it forward, to move it backwards, to move it all around. The disconnection comes where we have all this information, but now we have to learn and teach how to use it and how to make it useful. And sometimes that is hopefully letting other people, manufacturers, know what we need to do our jobs out in the field, so that hopefully they're listening and they decide to maybe make some small, subtle changes to just reshape what they currently have to match what we would do, right? What we'd use it for. Can I troubleshoot using this program? Absolutely, the way it is. Yes, 100%. It is a helpful tool. However, are there things that could be done to improve it, to make it easier for me to use, to learn, to teach on? Oh, 100%. And that's technology at its core, right? You get something that's rough, uncut diamond, right? And then we go and we polish it and we get it as close to what we need it for to use it. And that just takes time, and that takes understanding what we have. So if you don't have any Hero programs, I recommend that you at least check it out. This video is kind of that introduction to that. I wish I had access to more sites. So if you're watching this video and you have Hero sites and you want me to take a look at something, let me know. Drop me a line. I will give you my email address. You can give me access. I won't publish any videos if you don't want me to, but that's what I'm here for. To answer any questions that you might have, assist with understanding this stuff. And again, this is Service Checker at its core. We're not getting any new information. We're not getting any new formats. We're actually missing a few things. I would love to have special control operation modes, which are not in here currently. The one thing that I teach off of how to use, but everything else is here. And it's in a format that's a lot easier to use than Service Checker. So, which in my opinion is really kind of the purpose. It lets me see from the 20,000 foot view of a week, which you can't do in Service Checker, to zoom in into the areas that I know I have a problem, that I know I have an issue, to then zoom in and ask more questions. Remember, this isn't me saying, well, it's undercharged, it's overcharged. I don't see either one of those. What I see here is a bunch of questions I now have about application. How is it applied? What unit was being used? Stuff like that. Now I could go in and I could start looking at expansion valve pulses and how they modulate over time. I may use this. I may not use this. I may use the chart that's up above to go through that to see what it looks like and how it modulates. Because this is a useful tool up here too. But as it stands right now, this leaves a bunch of questions where I need to have those answered before I can dive any further into what should we change. What should we do, right? Because again, this program is showing me the squiggles, right? The squiggles aren't a good thing. We don't want spaghetti. We don't want heart rate monitor. We don't want any of that stuff. And so how do we avoid that? Well, if it's constantly hunting, if it's constantly going up and it's going down and it's constant changing like that, that leads me to a couple things: control issues, application issues, setup issues. There's a lot of questions that need to be answered before I can go back and say, okay, let's tune this to the application so that the equipment functions at peak efficiency and also delivers what the client is expecting, which is good, sensible, and latent removal, as well as energy savings. And so, but all that has to come with getting this information first and then diving deeper into it to finally tune it. So, okay, that's enough of me rambling on about Hero and how to use it and what it looks like. I'll be making some more videos about specific issues as I get more access to sites. Next up is the video that I promised you, which is with Cool Automation System that does kind of exactly this, but in a little bit different flavor and what it looks like. So I will see you guys on the next one.